Man, every single time we think the Thieves got it, Team Liquid Academy bring it back. This time,
Steal it away.
Stealing it away. Exactly. Stealing it from the Thieves, too.
Thieves.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be the other way around according to the script, according to the brands? I don't know, Team Liquid.
We'll double check. We'll double check. It seems plausible, right? Because if you take it, you don't have any recourse with the law, so you can just go in and take anything you want from a criminal, right?
True, yeah. It's like if you're stealing from a thief, then does it count as stealing? Probably, but regardless, they did it anyway, whether 100 Thieves were ready for it or not, despite the early game yet again going in favor of 100 Thieves. And this time, Joshi specifically through the bot lane. 100 Thieves, Luger, and Poom did put so much work into trying to get the Thieves a lead. And, I mean, hey, it worked to start off.
It did. It worked fantastically, right? They were able to get this bottom lane Scuttle Crab at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I also got this Dragon in about 5 minutes. So it's absolutely crazy that they were able to do all of this while continuing to maintain a CS lead, right? Luger and Poom, it's hard to overstate how dominant they were in this early game over their lane opponents. And it really gave Poom the 10-minute items transformation on his support item, and he was consistently doubling Ayla's vision score, not just like a plus 10, plus 20, consistently doubling up through about the 27-minute mark, like very close towards the end of the game, and it allowed a lot of these plays from Kenvi and Ryoma to happen in the first place.
And outside of just the individual leads they got bot side, it also, like you said, made pressure around the map just from them being so far ahead. 100 Thieves were able to get that kill for Ryoma early on in the mid lane. They had this play here, Tim, where they are getting aggressive up in Team Liquid's jungle. And just so many moments where it felt like they were going to win. And I mean, there were a couple plays going Team Liquid's way here. I think that still that Nocturne really helps them out. As Jan, there we go, had to highlight the solo kill onto Luger, who's been getting the better of him. He says, all right, you took my Academy spot. I was on 100 Thieves next, and then you got signed for Academy. I went to Team Liquid. It's okay, no hard feelings. But, man, Team Liquid still, with their comp, were able to bring it back.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of credit due to Jenkins and Armeo for just farming out and continuing to stay in a good position. Jenkins especially getting a really big CS lead as things played out. And Armeo, even though Kenvi had been finding all these plays everywhere, I think that was one of the side effects of having the 100 Thieves bot lane take that early dragon, is that Kenvi was able to just focus on being efficient with his farming and then finding, having lots of time left to make all these gank plays. And you saw how strong he get, like a 1v3 here, and he gets the kill and gets out. Like, I don't know. It's just so impressive the position they're able to put themselves in. But you can see, in these moments, there's only a 3,500 gold lead with the 3 dragons. It felt like the game felt a lot more decided than it actually was when you ever looked up at the scoreboard and saw, wait a second, this gold lead feels way bigger. And then eventually that opened up the door for Team Liquid to make this comeback on the back of mostly Ayla and Jenkins.
And I think this ties into what you were saying earlier, Tim, right? We were talking about Game 2 where we were kind of criticizing Team Liquid for their focus on the Dragons there because it's hard for them to actually pick up the later ones. And this is a very similar situation coming out for Team Liquid. They have a strong engage. They have the strong 5v5. They get stronger the later and later the game goes, where even though they were able to pick up the first 3 Dragons consecutively and the first one completely surprisingly uncontested, it's really hard for them to actually pick up the later ones. You don't have the option to control chokes. You don't have the strong engage and front-to-back team fight. And even here, we get to see like Jenkins just keep himself alive. Like, you don't kill this man later on, and that's going to be the deciding factor around so many of these objectives.
To me, it really felt like 100 Thieves, their comp was good at making plays at any time they were ready for it. Team Liquid, with the Nocturne ult cooldown, they needed to be a little more telegraphed with their plays, but you see how strong they are when they're ready. When they're grouped up around these objectives, when Dragon is the primary focus for both teams, they can turn the lights off with Nocturne. They can engage with the Rel. They have follow-up from the Aatrox and the Azir, and they were just able to use that combo so often. Like, again, here, just let's go off, and now 100 Thieves are like, okay, where are we going? Who's where? Oh, we're getting engaged on now? Like, okay, I guess Team Liquid win the team fight.
There was something that Crumb said during the cast that I really wanted to echo, where there was a situation where Nocturne turned out the lights near the, I believe it was Dragon 4, and it allowed Ayla to get in really close and just flash for a quick engage. This is one of the things that Nocturne does incredibly well, is he makes your AoE ability so strong, especially the engage tools, because you can typically use these from outside their vision range, and because everybody wants to stand on top of each other, it's like, oh, where's Nocturne? Is he hitting you? Is he hitting me? I can't help you if I can't see you. Everybody stands on top of each other, and it allows a lot of these engage tools to be incredibly effective. And so that's one of the things that Team Liquid has capitalized on incredibly effectively in both games 1 and 3.
So I'm going to bring it back then to what I said after game 1, was maybe take away the Nocturne. It really doesn't feel like 100 Thieves Academy are comfortable playing against it, because even though they can get these leads for themselves, it just, once the lights go off, it feels like their communication drops. They're going for these really far-reaching plays, and then when they don't have perfect information, it's really hard to actually execute those. And that also kind of goes back to your point, Tim, of calm down a little bit. You don't have to push the envelope for every single play. So if we're looking at this from 100 Thieves side, Tim, they literally, in 2 of their losses, they had early leads and that just got out executed. The one game that they won, they did your strategy of, playing a little slower, a little more calculated. Are you just going to echo that same sentiment? Like, what's going on with the Thieves right now?
Well, I think the draft plays into it a bit. I mean, there are certain executional things in the late game, like, for example, when they were in the dragon stacking position and they had the 3 dragons, they didn't have to fight for that 4th one. They could have said, hey, Team Liquid, you need to go to this dragon and deny it. Since we know that, we don't think we're going to win this fight. We'll trade it for a bunch of map pressure somewhere else and get 1 or 2 turrets in exchange, something like that. I think they could have been a little smarter in how they played out the end of the game, but I also think the draft is going to be pretty important. I think we've seen Team Liquid both times on the blue side ban the Ziggs, pick the Varus. 100 Thieves on the blue side picked the Ziggs first. I think those bot lane picks are going to be really influential, and there have been solo kills going both ways in that bot lane. I just think that matchup, the Yon Luger duel, has been really important. So I'm curious to see, on the blue side this time, I believe 100 Thieves is going back to blue side, and are we going to see that same kind of Varus Ziggs draft game playing out?
I'm happy you bring our attention to the bot side, because that's something that we had been mentioning on the desk here while we were watching that game. Joshi, throughout the season, Luger has been kind of heralded as the top 80 carry in all of Academy. Very few bot lanes have been able to hang with him. And yes, this game did find that CS advantage like we were talking about. Got the dragons early on, but I'm pretty impressed with Yon right now. What are your thoughts on the bot lane matchup so far throughout the series?
It's been interesting to pay attention to, right? Because this last game was probably the biggest discrepancy between the 2 bot lanes, and I think Yon had, I believe at one point he was 1-4, right? He wasn't having a particularly good game because he just kept getting caught out, and without the mobility, like Crumbs was again complaining about, he doesn't have a whole lot of recourse. I think, though, that we also have to mention that his game 2, while he didn't have any big plays during that game, was game 1 was quietly very good. Right, he's able to execute in the mid to late game very effectively. He's just not doing it in a loud fashion. He's not drawing attention to himself, and that's part of why we've been focused so much on Luger, is because he is loud. You have to pay attention to this guy when he flashes over and just one-shots you across the wall.
Exactly. So it seems still Team Liquid Academy, they are getting a lot of their wins off the plays of Ayla in the support role. Jenkins in the top lane still being that rock for them. And then even in the mid lane and jungle matchup, just out executing in those team fights. This is really the identity that they're, kind of showing for themselves here in the postseason, in the playoffs. And they are 1 game away from going to the finals against Cloud9 Academy. Let's see if they can go the distance. 1 more win is all Team Liquid need. 100 Thieves Academy got to get 2 in a row. We're going to send it back over to the casters, Deserix and Crumbs, to bring us into that game 4.
TLTF up.
Thank you very much, and we are now at match point. Team Liquid are 1 win away from booking their ticket to the finals. Such ferocity out of 100 Thieves in every single one of these games, but TL's ability to fight and fight well from behind has them so close to moving on now.
It's exactly that. TL's ability to hold on, to stay relevant despite losing the early game in all of these matches has been the thing that has put them here in match point, because it's not easy to lose the early game and still stay composed and know that you have a way back into the game. It's the team fighting that has allowed them to do that. And, Deserex, I'm going to share the sentiment that you mentioned in the last game as well, that I think the Nocturne is doing a lot for our Mayo and TL. Even if 100 Thieves doesn't think so, and they could be wrong in that, I think they're wrong in that, they should probably just ban it simply to throw TL off their game. This looks too comfortable for them. Being able to pull off these engages to assist the side lanes has just been too much, and I want to see them change it up because Team Liquid will have no problem locking that in again, and at the same time, just giving Ayla another hard engaged champion. There's just too many, so they're gonna get this synergy that has been getting better and better as the series has progressed.
If they do go for that, they are going to leave up the cannon. This is something they've been banning away a lot from Jenkins. I don't think it's the biggest threat to have on the Rift, to just still have that cannon left there, so I would prefer the ban to go over towards the Nocturne, but 100 Thieves, they're going to stick to that cannon ban. They don't want Bob Jenkins having his comfort pick. And TL Academy, they don't want Ryoma or Luger having a comfort pick in that Syndra as well.
Okay, and Varus is banned as well, so that's a new one that we had yet to see, and a complete chain around. It's a Felios first pick. This is rare. I mean, this is just saying, we're going to team fight you now, right? This to me tells me 100 Thieves is done with trying to play the early. They have realized we're losing the game. We're not able to close out early. We need to just have more firepower when it comes to team fighting against you. So we're going to lock in the strongest team fighting AD carry when it comes to DPS and pump out the Aphelios. But Team Liquid with a good answer for picks in the Ashe and taking the LeBlanc, the steal away from Ryoma.
It is a little bit strange to see, just right out the gates take that Aphelios, but it does make sense in the context of 100 Thieves Academy. Usually they like to prioritize Luger, get him as champion as fast as possible. Looking over at Team Liquid, having that Ashe and LeBlanc. What's been exciting me about seeing Ashe play, at least as of recently, is how much pick potential it has. Just with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, a lot of teams have been utilizing that for that long range engage, usually revolving around Rift Herald fights.
That Ashe and LeBlanc combination is, I think, a really important aspect of this because you want to find picks with the Ashe and LeBlanc. They both are trying to do the same thing. And now, despite Ashe being physical damage, you don't want the enemy to itemize Merc Treads because it'll diminish the stun and it'll at the same time hurt LeBlanc's chances of landing chains and her DPS in general. So Team Liquid now needs to double down and pick AD solo lane in the top side and an AD jungle. That way you ensure that the damage of LeBlanc is not hampered by the other champions that are trying to also crowd control the enemy. So I like the Xin pick. I'm expecting Jenkins to play something like a Camille again, or maybe Renekton, just something that has physical damage so that LeBlanc gets the maximum value and so that Ashe and subsequently Ayla's champion, which is going to be a hard engage pick, don't get their stuns mitigated by Merc Treads.
I love the Xin pick. I love seeing Xin Zhao whenever he's able to get in the meta, and especially as of lately, he's been one of those 100% presence pick bans. In this series, he's actually fallen by the wayside quite a bit. Both of these junglers have kind of digressed that priority that they really put onto Xin Zhao, especially over 100 Thieves, who have been so comfortable having Kenvi on that Lee Sin. And we've seen why. In every game he's been on that Lee Sin, his early game momentum, his early game tempo is phenomenal, and it's very hard for Team Liquid to deal with. This is why Team Liquid has always been fighting from behind.
I think the reason why the Lee saw more priority than the Xin is because when Xin falls behind, there's not a lot of creativity for you to actually find a way to return into the game. If you're just low in items, low in gold, low in levels, then you're still playing the same way as you did when you're ahead. You're just spearing and charging in. There's no difference to your play pattern, whereas the Lee Sin can do a lot more. And when you have confidence in your players and you want to have skill expression, then Lee Sin is the champion for you. Now with the Xin, he's just going to have to chain gank. Going to have to participate in helping the lanes as much as possible, or else, well, the Xin ends up being pretty strong in the team fights, but you're not, again, getting the most value out of the LeBlanc.
So an interesting ban to me is going to be the Taric ban. There is a lot of damage that comes out from Team Liquid. The Taric could provide a lot of protection, but there is ways to thwart that Taric. Playing around the Cosmic Radiance is a valid strategy we've seen a lot of teams do in the past, where they try and bait out the Cosmic Radiance, then just back off once it comes off, and then re-engage the team fight afterwards. So I'm curious, at least on the scrim results, and why that Taric would go down, what Ayla's been doing with that Taric to draw such a ban towards him.
So I suspect the reason why is because now, before the Gangplank was picked, we have seen top lanes go Karma, go maybe a Lulu, and then pair that with a support like a Braum or a Tarek that makes Xin just a powerhouse because he's now got speed, he's got shields, and he's got a stun coming out from him, and maybe even a double invulnerability with his own ult and Tarek. So I think it's preventing TL from doubling down on that from Ayla's side, and they would have no problem if Jenkins wants to take a champion like a Karma or a Lulu in the top side because they want to get tenacity in a really strong matchup. So taking that is, I think, what 100 Thieves wants here, and making sure that the Xin is not super buffed, because that has been the scariest aspect of Xin this split. It hasn't just been him by himself. When the enemy team has doubled down on buffing him up, that's when he's looking scariest.
I'm looking over in the top lane as well. Jenkins being on the GP, looking away from that one, I want to look at Tenacity on the Aatrox. We talked about how he can be that carry player, where he has a lot of carry potential, where he started as that carry player when it came to the amateur scene, kind of got molded into being a more diverse player as he worked through 100 Thieves. Well, this is just playing to that old school style that we know from Tenacity, and having him paired up with Kenvi on the Lee Sin, we're going to have a very aggressive top side, as to be expected with 100 Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to the junglers who have been so in their faces this whole game. Just that last one, the Nocturne Lee Sin interaction early on, was a pretty exciting one to see, and I don't think that this game will be any different than that. So I think 100 Thieves is still keeping Kenvi's Lee Sin prowess and confidence from the last two games, while giving themselves more options with stronger team fighting and scale.
Ooh, 5-man stack coming out of 100 Thieves. Start this off. Looking for any invades that might come out from Team Liquid. Team Liquid not taking any bait, so 100 Thieves trap will not be set out just yet.
Just a 5-point formation and a ward in the bot lane from Ayla. So just making sure that if any shenanigans were to happen level 1, it's going to be okay. They'll see it coming. And I think the TL, with the momentum that they currently have, must be feeling pretty good. No matter what happens in the early game, they've come back from it. So they'll be okay if they even fall behind a little bit, knowing that Ayla and Armeo will probably find their way into a team fight once again.
And for Team Liquid Academy, this is one of the best iterations I've seen of this squad. Jenkins being the only constant factor as we've changed through roster to roster. But this has been a very potent squad. You know, they had a second place finish over in the spring split. They were able to get first in Arena of Legends, which did contain 6 Academy teams. And they finished second in the regular season. They've been looking really good. And this is a squad, at least for an organization, that has never made it to the finals when it comes to Academy since its inception back in 2018. This might be their chance right here. They're even looking to be strong contenders to win the whole thing. It is a very competitive Academy season.
It might be the most competitive Academy season we have had ever, really. I think the teams have been so exciting to watch. There's been a lot of swaps back and forth between LCS players, whole teams at that, and it's the addition of more games I think has really leveled up the league in general. And not only do you see that reflected in Academy, in Proving Grounds, but also in the LCS.
And also in Amateur as well. Proving Grounds has done a lot for developing a lot of young players. You know, 100 Thieves were one of the first academies to really start diving into the North American amateur scene and North American development when they brought out the 100 Thieves Next roster at the start of 2020.
I think that was one of the coolest additions that we have seen from teams, when they added that other tier of team to their org, where it's below the academy, but still players that can devote themselves to playing League professionally and know that there's a ladder within the organization that they can climb based on their performance. I think has really done a lot. And it's just been like a year, 2 maybe, where we have seen a lot of teams actually commit to this, and already we're starting to see the fruits of their labors in games like we have had thus far, because these games are close, the players are outplaying each other, and that's what you want to see. You want to see teams come up with ways to just thwart their opponent through just outthinking them, using the tools that their champions give them, and I think we've really gotten that series.
Ooh, here comes the focus onto the mid lane, looking to try and take down Harry. Harry flashes away, is burning down, but will not fall. Harry survives by the skin of his teeth. Oh, so close was Kenvi.
Mechanically, Kenvi did everything right. He got the ward hop into the queue so that LeBlanc could not distort away, flash to land the Tempest, even had the auto, but the healing from Harry was too clutch to keep him alive right at the very end. So maybe Kenvi could have given himself another auto attack to kill Harry, but I do think he would have died for that, and I just don't think that is worth it. Since Ryoma still has his flash, it should at the very least free up Ryoma's lane, and they have already seen how this matchup plays out in Game 2. When the Rise gets ahead of the LeBlanc, when he gets to have his Merc Treads early, then he's going to dominate the side. So he doesn't need to give unnecessary gold over to the LeBlanc. He just needs to ensure that the Rise gets out of lane safe.
It's a good start so far. I didn't even have to use teleport. The wave crashed into the tower, got to walk back to lane, Harry having used his TP, so slight TP advantage coming over in the mid lane. Do have our Mayo towards his top side watching very closely. That's giving Tenacity the idea, especially seeing the freeze, that he needs to get out of there. He doesn't want to be on this top side. Knows the jungler, Armeo, should be up there within this region.
And he knows that the jungler is up here, and even though the wave is pushing into the turret, it's just safer to base and have stronger itemization if you're worried about getting ganked in. Put this to store out of here. And now that he can push this wave in the top side, he knows sufficient time has passed. And so he knows that the Xin probably won't be ganking him anytime soon, since they know his route was from bottom to top, knowing that then after basing, he will go to the bot side of the map. So the Aatrox can safely crash and know that he won't be dove.
You know, that talk about development of infrastructure and everything when it comes to 100 Thieves, it's a pretty interesting topic to bring up, especially in the context of this game. This feels like an extension of that 100 Thieves Next roster that we saw, because 3 players in this game come from 100 Thieves Next. Jan over in Team Liquid Academy, and Tenacity and Kenvi, who played as teammates over in 100 Thieves Academy. This is really an extension of that journey that started in 2020. And now, continuing the fight, looking to go forward is going to be Team Liquid Academy, but they can't get the engage. Ryoma wants to find the counter engage, though. Ayla tries to go deep. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Armeo for Poom. The fight continues as Luger comes over the wall. So does Kenvi, as Kenvi gets a health bar lower and lower for Harry. He will be able to take him down. He wants Jan next. Jan flashes over the wall. He will be able to survive. So only Harry goes down. Only Kenvi goes down. A very close exchange between these two squads.
That was so close there. And Armeo positions himself in the back of the pit because he's eyeing Kenvi. He knows he doesn't have flash from the earlier gank onto the LeBlanc, but he still had the ward hop. He still gets to jump over the wall and live through that. And then when Armeo overextends, that's when 100 Thieves is thinking, hey, the Xin is out of position. Let's turn. But crucially, Kenvi ends up missing his Q over the wall. A rare sight to see, but now they're going on to Armeo again.
Going on to Armeo, you're going to have backup. Jenkins shows up, but Kenvi is sticking to him. Tough to get away from that one. Tenacity grabs the kill. Tries to run away. Tenacity will just grab a double. 100 Thieves off to the races once again. Par for the course in the series.
Absolutely huge read from 100 Thieves. They know that Armeo is coming to the top side, but before we go into that play, the ward hop from Kenvi, and then that Q crucially missing, because by now Poom goes in again, and so the re-engage is looking good. But TL have an advantage here. There is a Gangplank ultimate zoning members off, but 100 Thieves has no cares in the world. They're flashing in, they're going for everything. They kill the LeBlanc, and then I think right at the very end, had Luger walked forward and been able to flash follow Yum, that would have been a kill going over the way of 100 Thieves. They would have walked away with the advantage of that, but it turns into a 2-for-2. TL get the dragon and do lose that double kill in the top side, which I think you can chain it to that play in the bot lane, because it was just one sequence of events that quickly followed right after that 4v4.
And this sequence of events leaning so heavily in the favor of 100 Thieves in this early game. They're not going to have too much of a gold lead, but this is what we're expecting. We're expecting early momentum, a lot of resources onto the jungler as they go on to Yan. Yan gets caught out, kicked away, fed to Luger. The couple more autos will be able to claim his prize. Ayla trying to get underneath the tower. Sonic Wave finds its mark. Resonating Strike does as well, but Ayla gets to safety. The pressure from 100 Thieves is so hard to deal with, and it just keeps coming in.
Kenvi's ward hop mechanics are so clean. That was a really quick Q into ward hop into a backwards kick. It's so easy to mess that up and not get the right angle on the kickback, but every every time. He lands it perfect.
Kinda scared me right there. I wasn't sure which one was the clone and which one was Harry. I thought Ryoma was about to take him down, but Harry sits all right, sitting pretty over in the mid lane. You are now going to get the delivery of blue buff over to Ryoma, so it's going to be very hard to deal with this lane. He's just going to be infinitely pushing for days.
And you already see that he's going to start having a grand old time against Harry here. He can farm back or immediately crash the wave so quickly with just a single overloaded spell flux. So it's looking really good for Ryoma. He now has the Merc Treads too, so he's going to be safe from both Ayla and Harry chaining those stuns on him. So already the work that 100 Thieves has done in the early game for mid is starting to pay off. It's now spreading the gold advantage to the Aphelios. Aatrox got the gold into the top side. Everything's looking fine and dandy for 100 Thieves. The worry, SRX, is that has been the theme for every single game.
Yeah.
It's looked fine and dandy early for 100 Thieves, and then somehow Team Liquid out-team fight them and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, in a proper world, this would have been a 3-0 for 100 Thieves, but here comes the engage coming in. Finding Harry is one of the reasons why we've said that. These early game engages have been so precise and so keen from 100 Thieves that they continue onto our Mayo. Mayo can do nothing there with the Crescent Guard when Lee Sin's right in your face, right in your guard. Boom goes deeper. Going to use the stopwatch to buy himself some time, but he's all by his lonesome underneath that tower. A couple more autos comes out of Jan. Will finish the job, but it's going to be a trade underneath the tower. Ayla's going to fall for it. Jan and Jenkins staying decently safe. The trade again, 100 Thieves pushing the momentum.
Okay, they managed to trade a kill on that. That looked like a pretty troll stopwatch there, but it ends up being exactly what they needed to actually get another kill for that. Tenacity did a fine job tanking turret on the edge of that so that the Fiona could live a little bit longer. But let's see how this played out, because Harry has vision, right? He has the control words to see two members, and I think these two members should be enough for him to know that he can't actually go on. When Poom arrives, that's what catches him off guard. But I think LeBlanc does not have enough health to survive Ryze and Lee at this stage in the game. So going in there was going to be suicide whether Leona was there or not.
You know, honestly, Crumbs, if you don't see Poom in lane, just assume he's in the mid lane. He's always hovering around this side all the time, always looking for that engage for 100 Thieves.
That's the support life right now. You live to pretend to lane in bot lane. What you're really trying to do is affect the rest of the map. You're trying to always assist and be the surprising third man in those 2v2 top sides, to go for dives, to 4-man play your mid laner. Anything that can involve leaving your lane is what you sign up for when you're playing support right now. And that's why these tanky supports are just so effective, because one, they're really hard to pick off on their own, and they're also very good at tanking turret and engaging.
Now 100 Thieves Academy get control of the Dragon Pit. Cloud Drake will go their way, evening this up to 1-1 apiece when it comes to Drakes. 11 minutes into the game, it is 100 Thieves Academy's game so far. Holding about a 1.5k gold lead as they set up towards this mid lane. Armeo is by himself. Ayla is coming in the wings.
Oh, boy.
Solar Flare goes out. It lands. Flush. So much damage on Armeo. You got to get within the Crescent Guard, and that is exactly what they do. Envy gets the kill. Ayla can only watch in horror as his jungler goes down.
Really nice sidestep there out of Luger, but not quick enough to react from Armeo to pop that Crescent Guard. Had he anticipated that coming, he would have been able to see that, but clearly he did not think that 100 Thieves had 4 members going his way. So by the time that he pops the ultimate, he's already just way too low, doesn't have enough time to live. Maybe the arrow could have actually done something if Yun ended up landing that from cross map, but no matter what, it's 100 Thieves being more assertive than they've ever been this game, sending 4 members to make a play on mid. It's usually just been the jungle and mid, or jungle and support grouping up. Rarely have we seen them group up as 4 and start moving these many people across the map.
Good map rotations coming out from 100 Thieves. One of the things I kind of slipped up on, I just realized right now, is Poom is actually 100 Thieves Next alumni. So you have 4 members that came out of Amateur from 100 Thieves Next year.
100 Thieves Next is MVP for finding NA talent.
Development going, and developing a dive up here in the top lane, going after Jenkins. Jenkins is able to flash, keep himself alive. Now here comes the teleport counter engage coming out from Team Liquid Academy. waiting for the chains to land onto Kenvi. Kenvi finally gets punished, and that is a shutdown as well, going on to Jenkins.
I'm getting deja vu, Deserix. That looks exactly like the plays that have helped 100 Thieves. Oh, nice flash.
Ooh, a flash coming out of Poom to chase down Jan. Very sticky. Leona tends to be. It's going to force the flash out of Jan, otherwise deal with those Shield of Daybreaks.
But now he lives and gets to crash this wave. Right, he gets to hold, take all these minions. He won't be. Oh, wait a minute.
Ooh.
Nice dodge.
Ooh. Ooh, forces the arrow out. I kind of don't blame him for going for that one. He definitely thought that was about to land, but Jan does stay alive and he catches the minion wave, as you said, Grooms.
His life flashed before his eyes. That ultimate was a kill. That would have been a root. He doesn't have the cleanse. He doesn't have the cooldown still active on reducing the duration of the oncoming CC. So at that hit, that's a dead Ashe. There would have been no help on the way either. So it's a good dodge there out of the Ashe. But that play into the top side where Harry answered with the TP, where Jenkins was able to flash out of the kick, I think that was a really big move. That was a shutdown on Envy that just went over to the top side of the map. That's exactly what TL has used in the past few games to slowly claw their way back into the game.
And Jenkins will be that late game threat. Has gone for the Trinity Force. Fight over in the top side.
Wow.
Ryoma's really taking it to Harry, but Harry will be able to flash away. Has the safety of the minions to block any of the spells coming in for Ryoma. Ryoma sends Harry back. Armeo heads up there to try and provide some defense, but there's so much pressure all over the map coming from 100 Thieves. Over in the top side, over in the mid lane. Turrets are falling. Team Liquid got to act.
This was my surprise when the Rise got taken, when the part of the Leona got taken. Knowing that the Rise was going to be up, they're going to try to dive Armeo, but he is much harder to kill than the LeBlanc. I think he doesn't have to worry too much about this one. But what they do have to worry about is that Ashe is now getting dope.
Really focusing down Jan. Jan trying to survive underneath the tower. Luger has one more auto to say no to that one as he flashes away from Ayla's engage. Top lane tower going to go down. 100 Thieves are really controlling the map. That is for sure.
And this is looking more like game 2 100 Thieves advantage, not game 1s or 3, because those were small. Those were kind of advantages that Team Liquid was slipping away. It didn't feel like they were harder. This is 100 Thieves being proactive, moving across the map and finding the members that don't have flash that they can kill. And it is a big difference when it comes to a team getting an advantage through their own hand rather than by the mistakes of the enemy. And don't be mistaken, 100 Thieves is getting the gold lead that they have here because they are earning it, moving across the map and just killing TL.
And that gold lead being 4K at the 16-minute mark. Again, this is match point, so all or nothing for 100 Thieves in this game number 4. Want to send this to a game 5? Poom coming over the wall to try and act on that. A lot of damage going on to Jan. He will fall. Ayla now with the engage. Has to take the damage from Luger. Luger will take him down. Poom looking for the lockdown. Armeo gets over the wall, but the Sonic Wave follows him. Harry cannot complete the chains. Has to start running away. Harry lands another Sonic Wave. Will not follow with this resonating strike. It's 3 down for Team Liquid. 100 Thieves make for the Drake.
They see the Ashe overextend and they immediately throw everything in the kitchen sink at her. So, there she is, clearing the minion wave, but Poom is in a control ward. He knows that Ashe just path to the right. Beautiful Xanax play. Blind catches the Ashe, doesn't have the cleanse. Rise Realm Work, it's comboed beautifully at the same time. And even though the Aatrox isn't here, you've already killed 2 members. This fight is won from 100 Thieves. At the very end, it felt like Kenvi might have been trolling a little bit there, kicking Armeo, but then cool guys don't look at explosion. So he just sends him over the wall, and Sonic waves him back to the fountain.
Man, Poom with that Zenith Blade. He just said it blind. That was some beautiful stuff. Poom is a very experienced player, and it's showing here. He's worked on all 3 of the 100 Thieves rosters, and is putting a great performance in this playoffs matchup against Team Liquid right now.
Oh, no. Okay, there you go. It happens, junglers are trying to... See, and look at that. Because the crab did that, now he can play make onto Jenkins.
Hey, it's all planned, all Kelk. He comes over to Jenkins. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike. Doesn't have the damage to finish off a Dragon's Rage yet. Not going to Dragon Rage him into the wall. Jenkins will be able to get away, but, not getting the kill onto Jenkins... That wasn't the goal anyway. The goal was getting tenacity this tower.
Yeah, And that is now an Aatrox that just is unmatchable in the side lanes. There's barely any healing reduction. It's only the Gangplank, and when he's going the lethality, it's not going to help him that much against an armor stacking or soon to be armor stacking Aatrox, since he only has those Ninja Tabi. So it's looking real good for 100 Thieves here. I don't think this one is like the others, Deserx. I really think this one is 100 Thieves just making sure that they are the team going to the finals. They do not want to lose, knowing how far ahead they have been in all of these games. They know that they have lane better. It's been up to them to transition their laning advantages into game wins. And with 13-4 as the kill score, you gotta feel like this game is in your hands. This is the kind of scoreline that makes players FF in solo queue.
Ooh. I'm gonna throw a question mark ping on that one. Harry missing the chains, not gonna get into Ryoma. Ryoma's gonna retaliate by bringing a chunk of damage into Ayla's face. Solar Flare goes out, not gonna land flush onto Harry or Ayla. They will only get part of the slow and be able to get the disengage. But Boom is not done. Boom is going deep. Boom is on an adventure as he looks for more members of Team Liquid.
He can walk so far up because he knows that he's got the rest of the squad there to back him up. He can survive with the Aegis. He's got Flash. He's so tanky, and now the Rift Herald gets popped as this gold lead is really getting out of control. This is going to be so much for 100 Thieves that TL just cannot deal with. Now, it's going to probably get a crash. Okay, they won't escort this for a turret, but the Rise, that dies, though.
Team Liquid going for an engage. They're able to get the kill onto Ryoma, looking to find Kenvi as well. But Kenvi is fighting tooth and nail to be able to stay in this. Enchanted Crystal Arrow finds its mark. It's going to go on to Tenacity. Now Yan, with the volley, tries to get the slow. It's only going to be one kill going down. 100 Thieves, very smart with their disengage there, only losing Ryoma.
Okay, that's a single kill, and then they back off. That's really important what you mentioned. They didn't lose anybody for them. That's just gold going their way. They were going to lose that tier 2 in the mid lane no matter what because of the Rift Herald. So making sure that they got something for it and didn't trade more than was necessary was really important for them to stay in this game. There's still not going to be the threat of the soul happening anytime soon. So TL can still afford to look for a few more of those, probably get 2 items, and by that time then look to get some sort of wombo fight, because right now they need to just continue to find those picks. The second they get somebody, everybody needs to get out because they do not stand a chance. Team fighting 5v5. 100 Thieves recognizes that and is starting the Baron. Will Armeos steal it? Nope. Just dashed over the wrong way.
He just dashed over to the golems. This belongs to 100 Thieves. Easy. Over the wall comes Poom. Luger will get the long-range kill, but Baron to 100 Thieves. Poom absorbing so much damage, and Yan cannot take him down. Now he's deep in the enemy's hands. Kenvi and Tenacity join up together to take him down, in the entire bot side as well as the mid lane destroyed for Team Liquid as 100 Thieves get Baron, get kills, and get ready to close out this game.
Yeah, they are ready to just stomp Team Liquid, and you gotta think about the quality of wins that have happened in this series thus far, because 100 Thieves' wins are just so crushing. They are obliterating Team Liquid, and they have won the early game every time, and here they are just not being afraid anymore. The second they see these leads and they know that Team Liquid is not interested in team fighting them, they continue to press their advantage in a way that Team Liquid is forced to answer, and they don't have the gold to do so. So they are just piling bodies after bodies into the jungle in an attempt to stop 100 Thieves, but they know that there is a hopeless effort. 100 Thieves just has such an advantage right now. Oh, he's dead.
Oh, Yan, he throws out the arrow, but it does not matter. A ward hop and a Dragon's Rage will lay him to rest. Teleport coming out for Team Liquid as they try their best to defend. Can be deep behind enemy lines, deep in the base of Team Liquid. Will go down, but it's 2 turrets falling simultaneously. 100 Thieves are dismantling the base of Team Liquid.
Okay, not an ideal play there, giving away that kill over when it felt like it was not necessary, since you did have a Baron and you were split pushing. So they will get a dragon for their troubles at the very least, and it was a cool kick flash, but unfortunately didn't have the Sonic Wave backwards to get out of that fight. Still though, they are now at Soul Point. They have a ginormous gold lead, and Team Liquid is feeling the wrath.
Look how far behind Jan is right now. You know, he does have a shield bow. He's working on one more item, but you're almost at a 3-item break point. If you look across the map over at Luger, who's completed the shield bow, who's got the collector, working on one more as well. Rough spot for Jan to be. He just can't output the DPS needed to be, you know, remarkable in these matches, to be a big factor for Team Liquid to find some T-fight wins.
It's a big trouble. Ashe is really not your high DPS AD carry until late game.
Oh, Enchanted Crusader goes out. 100 Thieves gonna press the issue with this engage. Getting lower is Team Liquid. Harry tries to run away. Ayla taking that route as well. Jan gets caught out. So does Armeo. Now the rest of Team Liquid headed for the base, realizing that defeat awaits them if they lose too much more. And this already looks like a lost game anyway. It's 19-6. Make that kill number 20 for 100 Thieves as they march into the base of Team Liquid.
They slaughter TL this game. They have come back with a vengeance, and going into Game 5, I just can't help but feel that 100 Thieves have the momentum here. When they want to turn on, when they want to stomp early and close, it feels like it's simply a matter of will, because these games are just not close. TL never stood a chance.
And here we go, a last desperate defense, but there's just too much up for 100 Thieves to be stopped. 100 Thieves are going to take this to a game number 5. We are here. We've gone the distance, Crumbs. What a spectacular performance from 100 Thieves in that game number 4.
I want to see these teams just continue to play. You know, the day is still early. It's just it's like, you know, they are doing their best to stay in the game for Team Liquid, but when they hold on, it looks really entertaining, and I think that 100 Thieves right now just need to do what they have done with this draft. And I think the key here isn't in the early champions. The key is that 100 Thieves is just playing the early game better. They're winning it no matter what champions they're playing. So they need to just pick champions that simultaneously match the scaling for Team Liquid and count on the fact that they are laning better on this day and use that to snowball and then close out, because the first pick of Felios crushed it. Everything else worked out really well for them as well. And I think that 100 Thieves right now is just looking to be the stronger team on the day.
Yeah, this has been an exciting match to watch. It's been exciting playoffs to watch with all the Game 5s we've gotten to so far in this bracket. But in this matchup, personally, seeing 100 Thieves and Team Liquid, you know, they're both doing their part when it comes to trying to help out with the development of a lot of these players, and we're seeing that development come through, especially on 100 Thieves side, because there's a lot of rookies on 100 Thieves side. You know, you have the import Luger, you have Tenacity and Kenby coming up from 100 Thieves next. They are putting on performance. I always thought 100 Thieves has some of the best individual performers when it comes to Academy. All that needed to be done was getting these teams to getting these players to interact as a team. We're starting to see that come together. We're going to throw it over to Game 5, take a short break. When we return, Kangas and the Analyst S will break down Game number 4. We'll be right back.